Before I start this off, did y'all know there was a sequel to Blinx? Was I just living in a basement with no oxygen this entire time? Blinx 1 comes up every now and then by some people, but no one ever mentions Blinx 2. What happened here? Usually, I'll start a game takeoff with, well, let's find out, y'all, or let's take a deep dive into insert video game title here. But this time, I am legit beyond curious. I personally want to know just what the hecky is Blinx 2. Now, before we kick this off, let's rewind 2 years earlier so you can see what the big deal was with this orange cat facing his fears. So the original Blinx the Time Sweeper came around in 2002 and it received alright reviews. It rounded up to a nice C+ on that gamer report card. But this was a special case. Blinx the cat was already grandfathered in as the Xbox mascot, being the representation of this grand spanking new Microsoft console. You know, instead of the greedy, violent green man whose face is still a mystery. So to put it lightly, Blinx was supposed to get an A+. Sure did your family proud, Blinx. Now, I'm not gonna talk too much about Blinx the Time Sweeper since I already did that a little while ago with a fascinating special guest, the Nerd Layer. So if you wanna know more about the original Blinx game, the link should pop up right about now. And now that I've managed to snatch a copy of Blinx 2 on Disappointment the app, sorry Nerd Layer, but I'm flying solo on this one. So Naoto Oshima was back at it yet again to direct a new Xbox game with the lovely Artoon Studios. I guess after the success of the first Blinx game, he felt the need to direct a new one. Either that or Xbox held him up at gunpoint to do it. But it seems like no one talks about the sequel. I had a similar issue when I was reviewing the Toe Jam and Earl games. Everyone always talks about the original 2 Genesis games, but no one ever talks about the third one, Mission to Earth, an Xbox exclusive. Oh, and there's also Back in the Groove, which released this year. Say hello. Dude, this doesn't make sense at all. Blinx was supposed to be the mascot. He was destined for royalty. But you know, the Master Chief was already ahead of the game. He already became the love child and he broke Blinx for everything he's worth. Yes, I like JoJo. Literally ruining his life because Halo 2, one of the very best first-person shooters, it redefined the redefined FPS genre, if that makes any sense at all. It is a pure example of how to handle a sequel. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, while adding in some new and fun gameplay mechanics while serving that sweet, juicy goodness of a story. It was bigger, better, harder. I should stop. This delicious, beautiful game came out on November 9th, 2004, while the supposed mascot made his sequel debut on November 18th, 2004. We are talking dead ass 9 days apart. Every gamer was too busy licking Bungie's toes and shoving them dollar bills up their butt while Blinx was sort of left to rot. It almost feels intentional. I am so sorry, my precious boy. My big question though is, did Microsoft give up on Blinx and decided to toss him to the wolves? Or did Blinx really have a second chance to rise up to the throne, to take back what was his first? Or is this just another case of, hey, let's make a 3D platformer game? Everyone's doing it. I guess we'll never know. But this is a Blinx sequel. I'm willing to give it a shot. So how about it? Hope y'all are willing to stick around for what I have to say about the forgotten and last Blinx game. Let's take a deep dive into Blinx 2, Masters of Time and Space. So our next adventure starts off with the Tom Tom Gang, the villains of the first game, hunting down some sweet booty as usual. They wound up finding this huge pink crystal hidden in the dark depths of this nowhere cave, and the Tom Tom's leader Benito gets thirsty real quick. Then he thrusts himself on the gem because he assumed the crystal was into that sort of thing. But all of a sudden, boom, the crystal explodes while the fragments get scattered and Benito lost his penis privileges.
Time is a treasure. Yet so few understand its true value.
Meanwhile, the Time Sweepers are at it just working. Y'all must be fun at parties.
CEO, time energy is vanishing across the universe.
What? Check the mother computer.
Roger that.
So right off the bat, we notice the cute gibberish is gone, replaced with actual voice acting this time. On my first Blinx video, I may have come across as hating the Time Sweeper language, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I actually grew to like it. It gave the game a sense of charm, and it was unique. If one syllable for a sentence can work like in Banjo-Kazooie, and if idiotic screaming can work in Crash Bandicoot, I don't see why gibberish wouldn't work in Blinx. Anyway, I digress. All of a sudden, the Time Factory is under attack by, I can only assume is the recorded Tom-Toms. They done did it. They used my favorite time power from the first game against me. I've been beaten by my own exploit. Oh no! Oh hey Blinx, there you are. I was wondering when you were gonna show up. With the computer systems down and these guys apparently being imperishable, all hope seems lost for the cats. That's until the silhouette of a pretty lady shows up, speaking an ancient alphabet, which leads the CEO of the Time Factory to believe that something must have gone down under with the big gem from earlier, known as the Big Crystal. Okay, sure, whatever. With that being said, the dude sends Blinx to the ruins of time to investigate what could have gone wrong with the Big Crystal. But it seems like the whole Sweeper army is coming with. There are terrorists invading the place! Don't just leave them there! Anywho, Blinx and the others head out and their new adventure begins while everyone else in the Time Factory is probably dead by now. You guys good? But apparently it's not just the Sweepers who have some legwork to do. Benito sees a Super Saiyan chick named Mina who begs him to find the big crystal fragments before something tragic happens.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.
So Benito and the Tom-Tom gang are also on the hunt for the pink shards. Not to restore time back to normal while saving the universe from breaking in two while telling these time goddess chicks to chill out like the Time Sweepers are trying to do, but instead, Benito just wants that human coochie. But with both sides finding these crystal fragments, they eventually form together for the greater good and put a stop to the time goddesses from killing the universe. That's essentially the game's main gimmick. You take control of both the Time Sweepers and the Tom-Tom gang. You just pretty much screw each other over, but eventually you do find some common ground with each other. Huh. Sounds familiar. So unlike Blinx 1, the game has lore, plot, twists, and blood. No, I mean it, there is blood. Check this out. I am going frame by frame here. I digress yet again. Although I do miss the gibberish language from the first game, the voice acting opens up a whole new world of dialogue and storytelling. It's cheesy as hecky, and some of the voice lines sound like they came straight out of Phoenix games. And I can't take Benito seriously at times. He sounds so stagnant compared to the lines he's given, and we see him pretty much all the time. Despite that, he is my favorite character in the game. I always get a good chuckle when I hear this pointless banter between the Tom-Toms.
You screw this up, you will get no dinner ever again.
With the Time Sweepers, however, it's much less of a chuckle-filled time and it's much more of a let's get down to business tone. The CEO is constantly giving you directions on what to do next and giving you intel on what's really going on. You know, while the Tom-Toms kind of figure that out themselves on their quest for bitches and money. Other than the opening and the ending, the rest of the cutscenes takes place in these phone calls, either giving you your next objective, giving you some story progression, or it's just constant whining. Why is this happening? What's going on? What I'm trying to say is that it takes a while for the story to get kicked into gear. I personally don't have much of an issue with the story. The voice acting could use some work though, but it's not a game breaker for me. A prime example of it is Benito here, and I freaking love this guy.
A Time Factory medal? We don't need that. Not when we got a war to fight.
You know what is a big problem though? Remember this guy? He doesn't do a whole lot and he's hardly around, but the story makes it seem like he's very important. Have you guessed it yet? Listen closely, you might miss it. Yeah, the main protagonist from the first game, you know, the one who saved an entire dimension single-handedly, he appears for like 3 seconds in the game. That's it. He occasionally appears in phone calls, but that's all you're gonna get out of him, which really sucks because not only is this a Blinx sequel, But this is also the last Blinx game we'll ever get. And oh gee, I don't know, just look at the title here. I'm clueless. So if it isn't Blinx, who else is gonna take the spotlight? That leads me to my next subject, the gameplay. Now, before we
Jordan.
Tux, what are you doing? I don't know how you're doing that, but please stop that. I got a show to run. Now, before we actually start the game, we get greeted by what looks like Anthro Zac Efron, whose eyes penetrate my sanity. This is where we create our own characters. Huh. Okay. Okay, why can I do this? Why is the game giving me this much power? Okay, seriously though, this is great! That's right, kids, you too can create your own abominations! Characters like Slim Jim Pepperoni, Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox, and my wife took the kids. You can also set your team emblem and your flags, which I don't really see much of a use for, but hey, it's this—
Jordan.
Oh, there's multiplayer in that? Tux, stop interrupting! I need to move this video along, so I'll just make a character real quick, and bingo. Now this also means you can make your own pig character when you get to play as the Tom-Toms. And it's at this point where I lost all sense of caring, and I decided to create Tub Goop here. Nah, his real name is Bitch. I gave up on him. I am totally not a 10-year-old in a 20-year-old body. Now it's the characters that you'll be—
Jordan.
Tux, I was about to establish that. Go away. Now it's the characters you create that you'll be taking control of, and don't worry if you wind up not liking the design later on, because you can always go back to the locker room and change it anytime. That's what I winded up doing later on in the game. I mean, check this out. I made Tux with big boobies. And after a totally short tutorial that totally doesn't drag on for too long, we get sent to our first mission in the game as a sweeper. Here's how we gonna roll. Instead of defeating every time monster in a level like in the first Blinx game, this time we're giving an objective on what to do. Now these rounds, aka levels, is divided into 3 to 4 missions each, and each of these missions have an objective for you to complete. What needs to happen and what we actually need to do. And what to do really depends on the objective. They can range from turning stuff on, blowing things up, or rescuing your fellow man. Now this idea is expanded a little further by giving you a choice of 2 things to do to complete a mission. This doesn't change the story or anything, it's just a preference of how you want to beat the level. I really like this mechanic. It kind of gives a sense of freedom that the original game didn't have. There wasn't much to explore and you only had 10 minutes to complete a level, which was a real pain in my lumpy butt because I'm slow and stupid. Speaking of which, the time limit for each level is completely gone, so you can just run around, smell the roses, and frolic if you oh so desire. However, there is a catch. I don't recommend playing this game if you got stuff to do or got work later on, because in each round, with all the missions combined, take around 45 minutes to an hour to complete. And you can't save midway at all, so either you do the mission all the way through, or don't do it at all. Don't make my mistake and try to complete a level at 1 in the morning when I have work at 7. It's all good. It's not like I have anything else going on. It's not like I need sleep. I mean, as long as I get 2 hours in, I'm good to go, am I right? Oh, this is a call for help, guys. Please pray for me. I'm dying. I'm serious. I'm about to break. Now, the controls in the first Blinx felt sluggish, tight and precise, but slow with a much unneeded backflip. I hate you. The controls in the second game feels like a godsend in comparison, but not without its issues. For instance, you're much faster, and the jump feels nice and floaty to pull off. You're not a sack of bricks like you were in the first game. You can actually move while vacuuming now, and you can suck everything up in a matter of seconds. And don't worry about vacuuming more trash than your little Mega Suck machine can handle, because the trash actually responds later on. Pretty neat stuff. What's really the cherry on top of this delicious improvement is the ability to lock on. I mean, oh my god, this is so good! Sure, you still have to look at the time monster to get an accurate shot, but at least the camera will focus on the enemy so you can actually see the dude. However, like I mentioned, it still has its issues, and the same can be said about the Tom-Tom segments. You move like you're swirling an egg yolk on a pan. It feels so swish-whooshy. It also doesn't complement with the level design all too well, because I feel like I have to be extremely careful traversing the stage. I could die or mess up very easily if I'm not careful. But oh boy, those time powers, let me tell ya, they really butcher them in this game. I really don't like it here. What used to feel like the game's main gimmick has been reduced to the equivalent of dusting your room. It's boring.
Allow me to illuminate.
You get the time power solely by defeating time monsters this time, and you—
Jordan.
Tux, I will euthanize you myself if you don't cut that out! There's no time crystals lying around anymore, but the time monsters do respawn if you need more time crystals. Plus, just look at them. They're just way too cool. A huge step up from before. However, the time crystals are not randomized anymore. The monsters give you specific crystals you need to achieve certain time powers. This time to solely get through certain segments in a stage. It just doesn't feel as challenging as it should be. It doesn't make you think, oh, what else can I use this on? Also, you're not even given all the time powers. You only start off with pause and rewind. The rest of the time powers, that being record, slow, and fast forward, you unlock by progressing the story. Why? Just why? Like I said, there's hardly any challenge and it just doesn't feel fun. One issue I had from the first game is that there was hardly any rewards for thinking outside the box when using time powers. But when the game does reward you, you're rewarded with these cute little medallions known as cat medals, which is pretty much how it goes here. Also, respectively, pig medals in the Tom Tom segments. If you collect a certain amount of medals, you get a special animated clip. Why is the crowd cheering as Blinx's happiness gets ripped to shreds? I'm not disappointed in you. I am absolutely pissed off. Yeah, you tell him, boss. I will say this though, you don't need to follow a combo to get a power this time. You just need to grab 3 of the same crystal in any order and you're rewarded with the respective power. The time powers are pretty much the same. Pause pauses everything, slow slows down everything, rewind rewinds everything, fast forward speeds up everything, but it feels so much better. Not only does it raise your speed, but it also raises your momentum so that you can get to faraway platforms you couldn't normally reach. But sometimes I just wind up activating it just cuz. I just love using it that much. I think I found my new favorite time power. But yeah, it feels super fun compared to the sheer adrenaline and panic as if you tried a cocaine sprinkled shroom that day. Record is also the same. You record yourself for a short period of time, then it rewinds you back to where you activated the power, and then you just do your own thing while your copy does what you just did. But yeah, you'll mostly be using the time powers to get through certain terrains. It's more of a chore than an actual cool thing to do. But one cool thing though, is that you can combine 2 time powers into combos, which is fine, alright? You'll only be using 2 throughout the game. This feels like a last minute thing, I swear. Seriously, this is such a cool concept, but man, is this pulled off half-assed. And this combo puzzle can go And then there's these matrix dodging bullet time segments. It's boring, pointless, random, and you don't use time powers to do these, it just lets you do it. But hey, you look cool while doing it. Also, instead of keeping the time powers you collect as you travel from level to level, instead, when you finish a mission, you turn them in exchange for gold. But this also means that you'll have plenty to spend after you're done with a round, with the trash and time powers combined. Which leads me to the game's biggest saving grace, the shop. Everything from the items, the accessories, even the sweepers and guns are all affordable this time. I bet she was fired for scamming. Wait, is that her? He married the frickin' gold digger. Give them a month. Also, I want to take a quick moment to talk about how cool the sweepers are. Just look at this one. Ugh, it's so hardcore. I love it. You know what else is cool though? Is that when you buy a sweeper, yep, you can keep them. And you can equip 2 at a time. But don't make my mistake and don't forget to equip the time bowl so that you'll have more time power slots. You'll mostly be visiting the shop for the Tom Tom since you'll have access to a variety of totally not Nerf darts and various items. Also, speaking of the Tom Toms, it's about McFriggin' time I talked about them. Ladies and gents, the Tom Tom Gang. Or more specifically, Blinx the Time Sweeper mixed in with Splinter Cell with as much hair pulling. Why are these so long? But what prevented me from absolutely ripping out my brain and throwing it into an endless void is the music. I'm not kidding y'all, the Tom Toms only get 2 level themes all throughout the game, but both of them are just as jazzy for the soul. No, you get 1. So the top towns literally control the same. They even have the same running animations. It's kinda jarring. Now the main gimmick here is stealth. You're either sneaking into somewhere, stealing something, or hecky, killing some sweepers if you really want to. But of course, since this is a stealthish game, you'll want to stay out of sight as much as possible. The time sweepers are all over the joint, and if they spot you, you'll be swarmed real quick. Although it's not that big of a deal because they're kinda stupid. You won't be seen unless you're directly right in front of them, and as long as you hold the Y button to sneak, you'll go by quiet as a mouse. Also, getting caught isn't that big of a deal the game makes it to be. Just go hide in a corner and you'll be all clear and ready to continue with no consequences. No, literally, go hide in a corner, it works.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
It's not just stealth and wits that you'll be relying on. You'll be offered numerous items at your disposal. You've got a clone which can distract the sweeper guards, bananas that can trip the guards so hard that they literally do not get back up, pause grenades which can pause time, and my personal favorite, the void trap, which sucks the life out of any nearby guards. There's also other items that'll help you get through the stage more quickly and quietly, like this one. You can get through traps and sweepers while hiding in a space void. There's also a teleporter which lets you teleport to wherever you throw the thing. And that's just scratching the surface. I mean, good lord, there is a lot of items to get. Unlike the sweepers, I found it an absolute necessity to stock up on guns and items before I head out on a mission. There are certain parts of the level where you don't have the trap or item that'll help you finish the level a lot easier, or the items that you need. It either has me going around in circles around the stage to try to find these items or anything that I need, or it has me trying to go through these harder segments and pass the sweepers with the most bare minimum. It really started to grind my gears on the last TomTom round until I realized, hey, I could just buy this stuff. And that's what I winded up doing, and holy moly did it make finishing the level a lot more fun and easier. But watch out, because certain items will only work on certain levels, which is pretty stupid to me, but hey, it's whatever. Either way, however you want to finish that sticking objective, you'll still spend around an hour trying to complete it. Fun, isn't it? Yeah, it is actually. I redid some of the missions while I was metal hunting, and I had a lot more fun with all the items I got and taking out all the sweepers because I'm bitter.
Jordan.
Okay. You must be wondering why my best friend Kat keeps doing this. That's because that's the game's biggest problem. Every time you enter a level, every time you do something, every time you take 5 steps, someone just has to pick up the phone and this stupid green text box pops up, either telling you constantly what to do or telling you about something that you already did on your own. You are constantly stopped on every level and you're forced to read all these stupid messages without any way of skipping them. Most of the time, especially on the TomTom levels, you're introduced to a cool way to advance or sneak through a level that you'll never use again. Or maybe all this random stopping has bored you to death and now you just don't want to pay attention anymore. But it turns out the text you just skipped is very important because it just told you how to advance through the specific spot. And now you're just going around in circles just wondering what to do. This hurts. If you do not pay attention, you will get stuck and you will be forced to start over. It forces you to read everything. Look, a green little text box that tells me what to do ain't the issue here. But when it comes to the point where I can't even play the game at all, or it won't let me figure anything out for myself, that's when it becomes a problem. And oh, don't even get me started on this one. Every time you're about to enter a new round from either side, you're immediately tasked to complete an exam before proceeding. It's really a tutorial on the new thing you could try, like a new vehicle, new gun, or time power. Can you just tell me how to do the thing in a phone call? I don't need a 10-minute tutorial for just one thing. To sum this whole debacle up, this game holds your hand throughout the entire experience. They really dumbed down the difficulty. Like for example, all the time crystals that you need is right there, you can't miss it. All the guns, items, and sweepers are all affordable now, and now you have a health bar which prevents you from getting a one-hit KO like in the last game. I was just drained. I had fun, but man, did it wear me out in a bad way. I don't need y'all to scream through the microphone. I don't even need you to say, hey, good job. Just throw me into the level and let me do my own thing. Good lord, there is just so much more I could say about this game, but one thing you should know is that this video is based on my experience of the game, and gosh hecky, this video is about to be 25 plus minutes. I need to move along. I really hate having to compare the two games, but considering A, I played Blinx the Time Sweeper first, B, there are only 2 Blinx games in existence, these 2 always have been, always will be. And C, since there's so much that separates the 2, yet they have so much in common, I really don't have much of a choice. So in conclusion, here's my verdict. Blinx 2 is really right down the middle. There's a lot to enjoy in this game, and yet there's so many migraines in store for you. I can't say that Blinx 1 is better or Blinx 2 is better, since it's really a matter of preference. Both have its enjoyments and both have its issues. But if you're asking me personally which one I prefer, I would have to say Blinx 1. It's not as story focused. You're just thrown into the fray and have fun, kid. Send a postcard from hell while you're at it. You just beat the levels, the bosses, and eventually the tom-toms. Simple enough. Keeping the time powers you earn when you finish a level adds that spice of experimentation and fun when you move on to the next level. Plus, you're given the time powers right off the bat. You just have to find the respected crystals. This game is the easiest to find. It's on Xbox One now, and you get to play as, Blinx. Now look, I'm not saying that Blinx 2 is a bad, horrible game. I can hear your keyboards all the way from here. There was a lot of issues from the first game that Blinx 2 fixed, like the speed and the time crystal combos. Also, I really like the ending. Even though it's just a slideshow, I like seeing the pigs and the cats all together all friendly. It's just sweet. If this series has ended, I'm glad it ended here. Just sweet. But it feels like the devs were too eager to fix these issues. In the process, creating new ones. But again, the best Blinx game is really up for preference. Which one do you think is the better one? But hey, since there'll never be a Blinx game ever again, I guess our choice is easier now. I hate to see Blinx go like this. The trademark was just dropped out of nowhere, and this game was his last time in the spotlight. Like I said in the past video, I would love to see Blinx turn into a cool franchise. But all I could do now is root for y'all from the sidelines. See you later, Blinx. Your sequel was okay. So that was my good old-fashioned hot take. My game take. What did you guys think of this video? Hecky, what do you think of Blinx 2 Masters of Time and Space? Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and be sure to like, and most importantly, subscribe, because guys, I'm not going anywhere. You'll be seeing me again, and I only get funkier every time. And be sure to ring that bell so you never miss an upload filled with spicy gags and memes. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at JorGoGo for any more updates of what's going on, and check out my Patreon if you like what you're watching and if you want to support the channel, and be sure to check out my TeePublic store if you want to buy some funky fresh merch. Links all below. So, until we meet again, guys, be cool, be wild, and be groovy. And remember, please don't click away yet, because I gotta make an announcement. Me and Dren Hanamada will be at Fanaticon at the Dothan Civic Center in Dothan, Alabama from October 4th through the 6th. So if you're looking for some good cons to go to, or you're just anywhere near Alabama, come hit us up and say hello. We're not gonna be hosting any panels or whatever. We're just gonna be just regular Joe Schmoes walking around. But in case if you don't wanna make it, me and Dren will be making a video on our experience there. But in case if you are interested, I will leave a link to the Fanaticon website down below. You can pre-register if you want, and you can find out who's coming. So that video will come next, and then it'll be the game take on The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening for when I get back. And this episode will be another collaboration with Dren Hanamada. He and I are about to pump it up once again. Even though Dren did get me into Breath of the Wild, I still don't know jack crap about Legend of Zelda. This should be fun for him. Prepare yourselves, y'all. I'm bringing in an expert.